Right, okay, now we come on to clearing the wine and degassing it. So we've got a load of sediment at the bottom there. The wine is dead, and I'm going to check it with hydrometer because it should be 0.996 or lower. But anyway, we'll get onto that. So wine thief, I mentioned earlier, with the little valve at the bottom. So I'm going to pop that in there to test the wine. And if it hasn't reached 996 or lower, don't bottle it or it'll explode probably. This is the bit I said with red wine, that little valve there, which is just dripping at the moment, could get stuck on a bit of oak or something. So I'm going to fill the hydrometer tube up about 3/4 out there. And then we're going to go through here into some light. Now you've got to make sure when you test it there's no air bubbles on it, which there will be. So what I do is I drop it in and give it a really good spin, which will get all the air bubbles off. And I can see the reading is 0.992. So we're good to go for the next phase. I'm going to siphon it off into the container and I'll get back to you in a minute. Okay, so I'm putting this into a carboy, a clear carboy, because it's much easier to see when it's clear and when it's ready to bottle. But you can just pop it in back in another one of these or a bucket or something like that. But I mean, the beauty of the carboy is that it sort of makes it a lot more easier to make it airtight. So and it doesn't matter at this stage if I've got just got the thing sat in there. I'm not worried about any sediment that goes in. It's sucked a little bit up and it's cloudy, and you can see that's like toffee. So there we go, carboy is full, and I've got a little bit of room left in the top there. Just be careful it doesn't overflow, because it's a nightmare. Now, because I've got room in there, what they tell you to do, okay, is to put these chemicals in order to degas it. So the first thing you put in is sulfite sorbate, okay, and they tell you to put that straight in and stir it vigorously. However, it is better to actually put it in a tiny bit of water and make sure it's all dissolved first. Which is the old instructions, and they changed it and I do not know why. So if you've got room in the carboy, put a little bit of water. If you haven't, just put it straight in. And then we're going to add the small sachet of Kisasol, which is a degasser, and then we're going to wait an hour and we're going to add the chitazan. Righty, so I'm just going to pop this into a little bit of water. Just makes it easier to dissolve, that's all. And it's actually worth watching how the potassium reacts with water, because it goes a bit mad and starts dancing around all on its own. I'm going to give that a really vigorous stir. And here comes Ozzy. And it was. He doesn't help much in this process. Right, ready to pop it into the barrel. Okay, so right. Stir vigorously, it says, and I've got a secret weapon, which is this. It's called a wine whipper, and if you put it in a drill, you can get it in the carboy and you can go, it's nuts. But this is the way you have to be really careful, because you never know what's going to happen. Sometimes it all comes fizzing up while you're degassing it. So I'm going to go steady to start with until I get the wine moving. And then we've got the sorbate, which is going to go in. So far so good, but we have had some incidents where it comes flying up over the top before you go too hard. So that's the sorbate in. It says 1 to 2 minutes, but whatever. Next one is the Kisasol, which I'm going to put in, whip round, and then I'm going to rest it for an hour. We're actually coming to the end now, which is rather good. So that goes in. That's a degasser, and this is where it's starting to foam up a bit. So if I go a bit nuts with the drill, that'll probably all come flying out of the thing. But you never know. Sometimes it's fine, sometimes it isn't. Seems to be all right today. I'm going to just reverse it for a bit to make sure it's thoroughly mixed in. So I won't bother showing you the next bit because it's pretty easy to do. What you've got to do is wait. I'm going to put the plug in the top there and an airlock, and come back to it in an hour. And I'm going to do the same, and I'm going to add the Chisazan, and then it'll start clearing quite quickly. And as I said the other day, you'll get sediment sitting around here that hasn't sunk to the bottom. So every day or every couple of days, just give it a quick like that. It's all going wrong again. Yeah, give it a quick like that, and then the sediment will fall to the bottom. And that is winemaking.